All right, we are live on the Save Jackson podcast with my guest, Mr. Steve Blaze of Lillian Axe. Steve, how you doing, brother?
What's up, my friend? How are you, brother?
Man, I'm good, man. This is a real highlight for me getting to talk to you on here. I mean, we've met a million times over the years, but when you get to interview somebody you consider an idol, man, it's really cool.
Well, thank you. I just have to tell you that I'm very impressed with the beard. I'm trying to get there, man. You know, I got a little ways to go, but whenever I think of like my beard icons, you're the guy, man.
Look, man, I appreciate that. And it's kind of by accident. The gray especially is by accident because none of us planned that. But I was real self-conscious about it. I think as most people are when they first start getting a lot of gray. And so I dyed it and I rolled around here for about 3 months looking like Brutus from Popeye.
Yeah. Dude, gray is the new blonde. So it looks great. It looks good.
It is, but I appreciate it. I look back at the pictures from the trip that we took with my black beard and I'm like, oh, I sure would like to rewind on that. Just embrace the gray.
Exactly.
Well, how you doing, brother?
Everything's going well, man. In tune with the way my life's always been. I'm overly busy, but I'm not going to complain about it.
You know, it's been the same way for me. I have figured that the busier I stay, I'm making up for about 10 years that I just kind of dicked off. Right. And B, I'm just the busier I stay, the better the things that seem to happen to me are.
It does. The problem is that the time goes by too quick when you're too busy. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's keeping us young. It's keeping us healthy. It's good for the mind. So I add things on every day that I shouldn't. But that's just how I am.
Look, absolutely. Hey, look, real quick, man. I want to plug this on the front end because I know when we get to talking that I could very well blow right past it, and it would defeat the purpose of this interview. And I know Brian would be having a nervous breakdown. You guys have got a big show coming up here in Jackson soon, a festival with Faster Pussycat and Enuff's Enough at Howlin' on July 18th.
Right.
You know, my only disappointment about that is that y'all aren't the headliner. You could very well be the headliner in Jackson.
Well, I look at it like, man, I just being a part of everything. I mean, we do lots of festivals. We got bands.
Oh yeah,
bands after us. You kind of just roll with it. The people. We're going to be as good at 6 o'clock as we would be at 9.
Oh, absolutely.
But I tell you what, this is going to be a really good festival because several years ago we did the America Rocks tour. It was us and Faster Pussycat, Jack Russell's Great White, Pretty Boy Floyd, and Bullet Boys, and we spent 7.5 weeks across the U.S. And we got to be good friends with the Faster Pussycat guys. And as a matter of fact, our brand new drummer, we met him on the tour. He was drumming for Pretty Boy Floyd at the time, and that's where we met Wayne. So this festival is going to be good. We get to see our friends we hadn't seen in a while. And Chip and I are buddies. Chip's Enuff from Enuff's Enough. And we always, when we do shows together and we see each other out, we always wind up jamming on stage together and having a good time. They're all great guys. So we're looking forward to just seeing them. We don't get to see them a lot. But when we do, it's good camaraderie. So it's going to be a great situation. Brian's got pulling all the stops out on this one. He's got tattoo trucks and food and jewelry people and whatnot. So it's going to be fun. It's good for Jackson.
Oh, absolutely. Look, man, you mentioned Chip, dude. I met those guys backstage at a Poison concert in Nashville or something back when they were doing those Glam Slam Metal Jam, right. Kind of mini rolling hair metal festival type dates. And just super cool guy. And he was exactly as I visioned him being in real life. Like from watching your videos.
Let me tell you, we did a festival in Melbourne, Florida a couple of years ago. We got off the Monsters of Rock cruise. The next day we had to play this festival. It was us and Enough's Enough and Winger and House of Lords and I think Lynch Mob and some other bands. We'd all been on the cruise and they had this festival. So we play. And, Chip is in stage regalia, whether he's in the middle of the night. I think he sleeps in his stage clothes.
Oh, yeah.
And so
plush velvet sports coat.
With the big glasses, the hat and everything. So there was a jam and the guys that put it on asked if I would get up and do a bunch of songs. So I said, yeah, sure. They go, well, go get Chips Enough. And I'm like, it's like midnight and he's probably sleeping. So anyway, I called him up and he's like, hey, what's up, brother? I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? Sleeping, man. You want to jam? I'll be there in 5 minutes. He came down. He didn't even have time to change. He was in his clothes, sleeping with his suede pants and big glasses and hat. And yeah, he lives and breathes the glam metal life, man. But he's a talented guy. He's good songwriter, good singer, good bass player. Really nice dude. So it's going to be fun seeing him again.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. Isn't that this is their first time coming to Jackson? I think.
That I have no idea, to be honest with you. But
yeah.
You know,
I think I saw Brian say that, but I can't remember. But I don't recall seeing them in Jackson at any point. So it'll be cool nonetheless.
Remember them coming down here at all? I don't remember any tours or anything like that. So, yeah, Jackson, you'll be in for it's going to be a good show. Fast Pussycat guys are great, good band. They're fun to hang out with and stuff. So, and we'll be pretty good too. So,
oh, absolutely. Look, so I know you guys got inducted into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame back in, was it 2010?
I think it was 2010. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now look, man, I mean, I know you guys are from Louisiana, right, but deep down you're a Jackson, Mississippi band to me. I mean,
we got more support from Jackson, Mississippi than we did from New Orleans. Not the people now. Don't let me.
No, I know what you mean, but the industry.
The industry has never been supportive in New Orleans because it was all about the tourist trade and all about if you were a Zydeco or play the accordion or in a blues band, which there's a great spot for that. It's a part of the culture and the music. But there's a great rock and roll scene down there too that has slipped right under the covers ever since we started out. I mean, look at bands like Zebra, you know, and Crowbar and bands that have been around for a long time and have accomplished great things. And you just, you know, I always used to say the Lanyap was the entertainment section of the Times-Picayune back when that meant anything. And I remember, you know, we would come into town and we'd have a new record coming out or whatever. And we'd be like just a little small article in there. And they'd have like, you know, Catfish Watson, some 90-year-old blues player playing down at Popeyes, you know.
Yeah.
And they would, he'd be all over the place on the cover and everything. And that would be the big news. And we get a little blurb, which, you know, hey, look, there's room for everybody. But when you accomplish certain things, you would think your hometown entertainment guide would be all over you. And it was just kind of embarrassing. So when we won the Jackson Icon Award a few years ago, that meant a lot to me too. That was right up there with the Hall of Fame award. So because Jackson, I mean, gosh, you know, it's really, I lived there for many years. I consider it one of my homes. You know, I married in Mississippi, so it means a lot to me. I love Mississippi, and Jackson is, like I said, they've embraced us probably more than anybody. So,
yeah, look, man, I've seen you guys in town probably more than any other band in the history of the city from 11 years old to current.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I mean, it started at 11 years old. I want to say the first Lillian Axe show, because keep in mind the age restriction issue at 11 years old, going to see rock shows. But I think it was at the Armory down by the fairgrounds with Charade and was it Vanderveer?
Yeah.
A couple of those other bands, Cyrus. And
I remember that night. I remember that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the first time it was a Sunday, I want to say. Anyway, that was the first time I got to see you guys live. And the first time I met you, brother, Morrison Brothers Music, Highway 80 in Jackson.
Yeah.
I was probably 10 or 12, 11, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I walk in. My mom used to drop me off there like it was a daycare. You know, well, she didn't like doing it, but she'd be going to the mall or something. I'm like, man, drop me off at Morrison Brothers. I want to look at guitars. I went from you being on a poster on my wall to meeting you in real life. And you were so nice, man. You're like, sometimes you're worried about meeting, you know, guys you idolize or, you know, looked up to or thought were rock stars or whatever the case may be, because you're scared that they may be a dick. And you've always, I think it's your trademark of how nice of a guy you are. And you sat there and you entertained an 11-year-old kid for what felt like a lifetime. And you told a really cool story that I still to this day is burned in my brain about touring or playing a festival or something with Gorky Park.
Yes. Yeah.
And somebody in the band opening a beer with his eye.
You remember that? Yeah.
I do. And it's like, for whatever reason, that just stuck in my head. And still to this day, if I twist a beer top open, I think about that for some reason. Well, just amazing what you retain as a kid.
For those people out there that don't know much about Gorky Park, they were on like that big festival that was all of, what was that?
The USSR for Peace Festival. Moscow Music Peace Festival.
Yeah, got it. their little shtick was the Bon Jovi of Russia, right? So they came to the States, and we did a string of dates with them, and they were straight up just good Russian guys. They were so nice, and we did a bunch of shows with them. It was right when the first record came out, and I remember one night backstage, the bass player, they said that he was actually a jet pilot for the Russian Air Force, and this guy took one of those big, I don't know how many ounce beer, 12-ounce beer things, not the twist off cap, but the ones that you had to use the opener for.
Yeah.
He put it in his eye socket, and he popped that sucker open with his eye socket. Started drinking.
That's even better than I remember. I was just thinking maybe it was just like a twist, but even better. He used it like a bottle opener. Just popped it.
Even if it was a twist, that would have been amazing in itself. Yeah. No, he popped that sucker right up. And I was like, oh my God, this guy, like he's a cyborg or something. Or his skull is made of metal or something. But yeah, it was not a big deal at all. He just popped it open. He was good to go. It's like, and that's funny. That's what sticks in my head about the tour,
Yeah, it's funny. That had to have been 32, 33 years ago when I heard that story. Like I say, it's amazing what you retain as a kid,
I think it's kind of funny that I was telling you that at 11 years old.
I know.
Maybe I was trying to teach you a lesson. You see why you shouldn't drink beer.
Hey, I've got one right here. It's funny because I thought about the same exact thing earlier. I was like, here's rock and roll guy telling an 11-year-old a story about a guy popping a beer open with his eye. But hey, man, as life goes, it worked out.
And especially when I don't drink, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It was more of a story of an individual's special talent.
Absolutely.
It could have been juice. It could have been a Coke or something else.
Hey, what was it? Was it Letterman on one of them that had stupid human tricks?
Yeah. That would have been a great one. That would have been a wonderful one.
Look, but one more story about me and you as me as a kid, and then we'll move on to some more fun stuff here. I know you'll remember this, and you're going to be like, "That was you. It was you that ruined my night." It was my 12th birthday. It was or maybe 13th. It was either August 17th, 89 or 90. Kiss, Hot in the Shade tour, Jackson Coliseum.
Right.
I ran into you, and you let me sit with you and the lady you were with at the time.
Right.
I want to say, was she Miss Mississippi or something like that, or a model or something or another? And you let me hang out the whole concert with you. Here I am, this just 11-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid, and I'm hanging out with you at a Kiss concert. And my mom was in the hospital that day. My dad dropped me off at that show because they didn't want her being in the hospital to interfere with my birthday. So got to go to a Kiss concert by myself and then sit with my favorite guitar player. So
that's cool.
I just thought that's another one that's always stuck out. So I've always, I think from that day on, it just cemented that, hey, Lillian Axe probably going to be my favorite band for the rest of my life.
I'm going to tell you something, honestly, man. Look, I just the way I've always looked at it is, first of all, when I was young, if I would have had the opportunity to meet somebody's music that I liked, I would have been crushed. Let's say if I'd have met Alice Cooper when I was a kid and he was rude to me or whatnot. First of all, that doesn't. Being kind to each other is not just, to fans or to friends or to people, it's being kind to each other everywhere. It's opening a door for somebody at a grocery store. It's saying hi to somebody. You never know what you're going to do. And it's just, isn't it much nicer to be cool to each other and nice and kind and care about each other than to be a jerk and to be rude? That's just the way I've always thought about it. There are many times where people have been really rude and I just want to, point it out to them what they're being. And I figure, what? If I do that, I'm just stooping down to their level. So I've always appreciated that. And I'm going to be honest with you. I love meeting like young kids and stuff like that. A lot of, we have a lot of fans that have kids, right? And they're bringing them up on Lillian Axe and they're bringing them to shows when they can or seeing if they can, we'll sneak them in for sound check or meet them in the parking lot and say stuff to them. And just to see the smile on some of these kids, I've got a good friend of mine who he brought his, two separate ones one of them brought his nephew and one brought his son. And they came to shows and I let them in and both of these kids wound up passing within the year at a young age. And they would tell me just how much that meant to them. And that just really that just tore my heart up to hear about that. It just made me feel good. You never know what somebody else is going through, and just a smile or, hey, how you doing today, man? You know, that could change somebody's course of their life. And I know if I'm down, I like it when somebody's kind to me too as well. So,
Man, sidewalk angels.
yep, we should be like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? But
It-
unfortunately, it's a strange world right now.
yeah, it is, man, and it's disappointing. But I understand people being stressed out, and as I've gotten older, contrary to how I may come across on social media, I am a very compassionate person, and but I'm also very agitated at what's going on in the world. And, you know, coming off a year like COVID and seeing so many lives ruined, and, you know, I'm not going to sit here and make this about COVID by no means, but I feel like there was a lot of unnecessary shutdown of industries and lives and careers because of something that just because we didn't know. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, you and I are on the same page with that. We probably could talk for 5 hours about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
you
feel
know,
the exact same way. And that breaks down to, you know, seeing how people have treated each other during this. It's been, you know, it's almost like an amplification of some sort. You've seen some people, good people, become even better people. And you've seen some people that aren't on the right path really go off the wrong, you know, go the wrong direction. So it's kind of, you know, like I say, when they say, you know, when people get rich, if you were a jerk ahead of time, you're a rich jerk. If you were nice, you can be a rich, nice person at the same situation with these, you know, with stressful. That was a big, crazy year last year, you know, and it really put a huge line of demarcation in the sand between good and bad.
Yeah, I was very proud of what I saw from people that I considered friends that really became leaders and stepped up and stepped out. And you say, okay, those are the people. You know, I don't consider myself a follower, but I will follow somebody that's going in the right direction. And
Right.
I wanted to be the same guy. I say, you know, I have this large social media presence. I had not been doing these videos or anything like this. I was like, but I think that there's a lot of people who, because of their careers and what they have going, are afraid to kind of step up and be a voice. And I understand that and I get it. But I reached a point where I said, to hell with this. You're not going to keep peeing on my back, telling me it's rain.
Right.
I'm going to buck back against this. And it was what I saw happen to the entertainment industry and the restaurant business and all of that affected me emotionally, personally. Watched so many friends' lives be ruined. Guys like yourself, you know, who couldn't get out and make a living on tour, you know, so on and so forth. And it just really pissed me off. And that's why I said, man, I'm going to fight. I mean, I didn't miss a paycheck, you know, because I'm in the car business. We were deemed essential,
Right.
you know, but
Right.
I had way too many friends that did. And, you know, I think they were scared to speak out. And that's why I said, man, I'm going to step up and, you know, see if I can't make some sense out of this for people, or at least be a sounding board, you know, maybe the voice of the voiceless.
Well, and, I tell you, you know, I'm the same way because I go on live a lot and I try to be uplifting and I try to talk to people and let them know that, look, man, we'll get through this. We'll get through this. And just try to give them little insights every day, even if it's just like, you know, hey, I just want to say hi to Steve or whatever. Just some kind of interaction, make people feel better. But
you do, man. You did a great job with that. I've always enjoyed watching your lives.
But I even would get people, and I'm blessed because it wasn't a lot, but once in a while I'd get somebody that if they just didn't agree with my thoughts or anything, would be completely rude or disrespectful whatsoever, you know? And I just don't get that. You know, I don't understand if you don't agree with somebody's opinions, you know, especially if it's just about how things should be or what, you know, how you should, you know, what you should do here, whether or not you like this or you don't like that. That's one thing. But to be hateful about it, you know, to be to the point where you have to spew meanness. And it really bothered me because I'm the guy that we get 99 great reviews on a record and the one bad review was the one that I bothered with, you know. But so I started thinking to myself, you know what? Just like you were saying, you just cannot sit back when God gives you the opportunity to be a voice. You're gonna have heat. You're gonna have people against you, but those aren't the people. Actually, those are the people that, even though you don't think you're reaching, you really are. Because if you weren't hitting the nerve, they wouldn't be responding to you the way they are.
Yep.
So, it's easy for me to say stuff to fans that agree with me, and they're going to go, oh yeah, we love it. But if I say something that hits a nerve with somebody that for whatever reason doesn't agree with me, if they really didn't care down on the side, if it didn't really turn something inside of them, they would just go away. But when you start to, anytime you have any kind of friction like that, you're going to get some backlash. And I start thinking to myself, nobody really likes anybody being hateful or whatnot, especially when you're trying to do good stuff. But then you look at the life of Jesus Christ and the great, our God came down as a man, and how horribly he was treated. I'm like, you know what? There's nobody ever on the history of mankind had it worse.
No.
So quit your whining, Stephen, and just do what you do. Just follow the right path, because I think that every time your path starts to become that much more defined towards the right way, and you're doing things correctly, the more obstacles are going to pop up in your life. And that just makes it that much sweeter when you get to the end of your journey.
Look, man, we always talk about this, the journey, not the destination. And I'm really enjoying the journey right now. A good friend of mine, he's a state representative here in Mississippi, Fred Shanks, shared a Winston Churchill meme on my Facebook wall the other day, or maybe he sent it to me as a text. It's my cover photo on my personal Facebook now. I liked it so much. It said, "Oh, you've made somebody mad. It means you stood for something."
Exactly right. Exactly.
And it was right on time.
Yep.
Well, look, man, back to I could talk about this all night. I'm scared to go down this rabbit hole because we may have a bunch of music fans here that didn't tune in for all this. But hey, if you're watching me and Steve, you know what's up. Back about Jackson. The city embraced you guys. You lived up here for a while. Like I said, we really consider Lillian Axe our guys that did it, that made it. Like we hitched our wagons to your horse and rode it to MTV videos and sold out concerts and opening up for, big mega tours and everything. It was it was something that we could be proud of because we didn't have that here.
Right.
So I just want to say thank you for that, man. Thank you for giving somebody from Jackson, Mississippi, the thought that, hey, man, we can do stuff too.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, man, I can remember the first night we came to Jackson. I think it was November of 1983. Is that crazy or what?
That's wild.
Let me go, brother. And we had just formed the band. And I formed the band, but it was like right when Danny joined. It was me, Danny, Johnny, and Michael. And it was like we really solidified. We'd been around under the name for maybe a year or so before that, but it wasn't solid yet. We were still putting the pieces together. Excuse me. And I remember the night we were coming to play Town Creek Saloon. I think it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, like a 3-night thing. And at the time, we had been playing a lot, but we had not really traveled that far. And for some reason, we felt like we were going to Europe. First time we're going to Jackson, Mississippi for the first time. It's 3 nights. We're hearing about this place. It's supposed to be this great club. And we get there, and it's a Thursday night, and it was a pretty decent crowd in there. So later, when I talked to Daryl Arnold, Dirty D, he told me, that the buzz was out on us, right? This metal band from New Orleans coming to Town Creek Saloon. So they had all the musicians were out. And I just remember walking in there, and we busted into, what was it? Judas Priest, Running Wild or something. Wait, I think that was it. And we're on that big high stage, and we bust into the chord. And then as soon as the drums come in, Johnny does this giant David Lee Roth split off the stage into the crowd, and the fire went off, and the flash pots went off. And at that point, it was all downhill. It was like the greatest intro. And then everything after that was just like, we just took to the place. Man, we were, I don't know if you can remember some of those nights. We'd be coming in there doing 3 nights. It'd be a Friday or Saturday night. You couldn't even move. There'd be cars, hundreds and hundreds of people.
Oh, yeah, y'all were made men up here, dude. It was just, and I never got to go to a Town Creek show. I mean, I was before my age.
Oh, was it before you? Oh man, I tell you what, it was legendary.
Look, there's a ton of videos, believe it or not, on YouTube of you guys playing at the Town Creek.
Yeah.
So I have got to at least put a vision to it. You know,
They had a little bitty dressing room. It was like a closet, and I can just remember being in there, and place was. I can even remember the songs they used to play over and over again on the jukebox. They had a DJ, and it was like John Cougar Mellencamp and the Fix. One thing leads to another. They play these same songs every night, and even when I hear them right now, it like brings back all those memories. But it was the epitome of the 80s rock club. I mean, tons and tons of people and anything you can imagine, you know, and that was going on in there. But it was so cool, you know, and that's you know, I attribute a lot of our success to those formative years there, being in Jackson. And then I wind up living there for 6-7 years after that too.
How did that happen?
How'd that happen? Girl situation at the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then I wound
said.
up, after we split up, I wound up living with my road manager, Lolly, for a while.
I know Lolly. Yep.
And then I moved. But, you know, like my wife's from Louisville. So when we, at least once or twice a month, I'm going right through Jackson. We're recording our new album in Jackson. You know,
y'all at Brugman Studio? Where y'all at?
At Malaco.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
So Jackson is a very, very dear place in our heart.
So are y'all signed on one of those Malaco labels now?
No, we're not with Malaco. We're on another label, CME Records, which is partnered with Megaforce and with Sony Distribution.
Nice.
We're hoping the new record will be out by the end of the year. It's about a fourth of the way done, and we're going to get ready to start putting in high gear because we've been slowly, methodically working on it for about 1.5 years now. But now it's, you know, now since we're out playing and stuff and things are opening up, we're putting things in high gear. I've been spending a lot of time writing this record, so it's a lot going on.
Well, I'm excited, man. Tell me about Brent Graham.
Well, I met Brent. I didn't know anything about Brent until I formed Sledgehammer with Guy Gelso, the drummer for Zebra, and Michael Max. And so we started this thing, and then, you know, we're like, who can we get to sing? And Guy knew him. He was singing for a band called Supercharger in New Orleans, and they were playing like all the time, you know, like 3-4 days a week. These guys were playing everywhere. They were like the cover band that played everything from Journey to Rick Springfield and all things in between, and they were really good. And I just heard about this great singer, right? So Gelso says, let me talk to Brent, see if he wants to do this. And next thing you know, he says yes. So I'm like, hey, if you say he's good, I'm good with that. So we rehearse, and I was like, dude walks in, he's 6'4". I'm like, this guy's going to be a beast. And he's just like, hey, man, how's it going? He's the nicest dude in the world. He's like, you know, he's in my little group of my best friends who are like my brothers. And yeah. Brent's one of them. He and his wife are real close with us. And he's just an amazing guy, man. And great singer, right? So he was with the band for a while, but he left Sledgehammer because Supercharger was doing so many dates that we couldn't get anything booked. It was like, you know, we hated for it to happen, but he was playing so much, and that was just prior obligation. So anyway, so we got asked to be on, I don't know if you remember this show on NBC a few years ago called Constantine. It was, remember that show? Well, we're on, I think it's the 10th episode.
Could there be a better band with y'all's vibe and everything for that show? I can't think of a better band with your whole vibe and presence and to be on that show.
Well, they asked us to do, Dave Blass is a production designer for that show. And he's done Justified and Preacher and all these. He's got, you know, Emmy nominations, and he's a fan of the bands, but he also is a friend of mine. And he said, man, we got this episode where at the beginning there's a band playing in a club, and reminiscent of the Great White situation, the club catches on fire and like 47 people perish in this flame. You guys want to do it? I'm like, sign us up.
Yeah.
But at the time, Brian Jones was our singer, but Brian had some stuff going on that he couldn't make the shooting. So we asked Brent to fill in for that show. So Brent came and shot with us for 2 days. And I was like, man, he's such a great guy. If ever, you know, we were in a situation where I needed a new singer, Brent would be the guy. And so When that happened, Brent had just quit Supercharger, so uh, he was like, I mean, at the risk of sounding a little bit weird, he was so happy and honored that we picked him. I mean, he's that kind of guy. He's very, very humble, and he's worked out fantastically. I mean, I couldn't have had a better new vocalist in the band. Just a superhuman being and great singer, and he's a monster presence. You know, he's a big guy. He commands the stage, and just it's a good place where we are with him. So, and his vocals sound great on the new stuff too, as well.
Well, look, man, I don't think it sounds weird at all that a guy from Louisiana would be honored to be asked to join the only rock band in the Louisiana Rock and Roll or the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. You know, I know you're humble, but it's cool to say, yeah, man. You know, he was glad that we asked. I think it's a great fit. Brian did a great job too, and you know, and
Yes,
I'm very upfront and open and honest. Me and Brian have had our differences over the years, and I hate that kind of ran concurrent with his time in Lillian because we put that behind us and we're back to being friends again. And so it took a couple of years of my fandom away from the band, and
right.
And I had a conversation with Brian about that today. I said, man, I wish to God that I could go back and tell 2011 Clay to not be an asshole. You know, and I was like, but hey, here we are now, man. Lessons learned, and I'm glad to kind of be back in the fold and helping out, and glad that Lillian Axe is still rocking. And
Brian's still part of the family.
That's what I was going to say.
He is our booking. He's booking us.
Still a very unique situation to have a guy a former band member that's now booking the band. You know, so
he was at our show.
Everybody's still cool.
Yeah, we get along great. I love Brian. He's a big-hearted guy. You know, just like with any relationship and family, sometimes the dynamic changes a little bit for different reasons. So, but he's still a major part of the family. He's on Days Before Tomorrow and One Night in the Temple. Fantastic job, great vocalist. So, but it's good to have him still part of the family, and that's important.
That's awesome, man. I went back and listened to One Night in the Temple recently, and that is just a phenomenal live record.
Thank you. That was, man, I tell you what, let me tell you a story about that. I just had this idea one day, and I said, you know what? Why don't we do a live thing, but we're going to record it sitting around a campfire. I actually thought about that, about actually doing it at a campfire. And we'll just have acoustic guitars and, you know, the crackle of the flames and the band sitting around and a drummer beating on, you know, pork and bean cans or whatever. Roast some hot dogs. And it developed into, why don't we do a full out acoustic live show? Then this thing starts getting complicated and whatnot. Let's turn it into a contest. So we have a contest, and we picked, I think, 60 winners. Whoever sent the best pictures of their Lillian Axe memorabilia and swag, whatever they had. So we got people from all over the place. And we had about 60 contest winners and probably about 40 or so like families and friends and business acquaintances and stuff like that. And we set up inside the studio where we did the last few records. It's a Masonic temple. So we set up production in there and a light show. And it was like an amphitheater, indoor amphitheater set up with chairs. We catered it. We did a 1 hour meet and greet question and answer thing before where they got to ask questions. Then we did like an hour set. We took a break. Everybody got food and ate, came back and did the second set, and then did a meet and greet. It was an entire 6 hour, I think, 5 or 6 hour event. And so emotional.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. There were people I'm talking with tears in their eyes at different places. We had Johnny Vines came and sang on 2 songs. We had a violin player come in and accompany me on The Day I Met You. And we have a song called Bow Your Head that I wrote about a little boy that passed away from a rare disease. His family was there, and we gave them special seats on the side of the stage, and we dedicated that song to him with the parents. So in the DVD, it not only is a 2 CD of the audio of the show, but it's a whole 2.5 hour long DVD of the whole performance with different interviews and stuff between the songs and some information, sound check. It's really well done. And the mother and the family of this little boy that died were there, and we have footage of them while they're reacting and listening to the song to give honor to the kid. And it was just really, I told people after, I said, this may have been the most emotional show I've ever done. I don't know what it was, because it was intimate, but we talked to people. We had these guests. Johnny was there. We had, it was beautiful, and we captured it. I was worried about it being a great event, but that we would not be able to capture emotionally what it seemed to mean to everybody there, including myself. But with a lot of hard work, Rob Hubby did a great mix on it. He engineered it. And the Pelican team, broadcasting team, did all the editing and the video. And we had like 6 cameras and stuff. It was just better than I ever even thought it was going to turn out. It was a really special event.
That's awesome. I'm about to go back and find the video of that, about whatever. I need to watch that.
If you don't have it, I've got lots of copies.
I need a copy. I do not have a copy. I'll tell you what, I heard that you don't have any Lillian vinyl.
I got a couple. No, I do have a couple. I've got, I think I got maybe 1 or 2 of the first. I think I have first album, Love and War, Poetic, and maybe even I think I have a Psycho, and maybe even a Fields of Yesterday, like 1 copy of each. But man, I tell you what, they're not cheap if you want to try to find them out there.
I tell you, man, I got picked up this copy here that I have on my desk. I've had it since before I was old enough to drive. I got it at the little big store in Jackson, Mississippi, when it was still over on Highway 80 before they moved out to the train depot in Raymond.
Do you remember the mall? What's the mall?
The Metrocenter.
The Metrocenter. Oh my God!
Right where Bebop
when
was.
I tell you about that first trip that we went there, we went to the Metrocenter, and I'm a mall rat. Okay, now the mall seems to slowly becoming like an extinct species, like a dinosaur, so to speak. But
it's a retail archaeology.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I am such a major shopaholic, and I love malls. But I remember going to the Metrocenter when we got there, and it was a really, really cold day. And it was overcast, and it was like, it might even snowed a little bit. And I just remember going to the mall with Mo, our sound man, and the band, and I was like, we're playing Jackson. And we were so excited. And I remember going and buying a cassette tape of the best of Johann Sebastian Bach played on lute. And I still have that cassette in my collection from like 1983. And I just thought the Metrocenter, which, for the next 6 or 7 years when I lived there, I frequented that place. Got kicked out of there before for drawing too big of a crowd. After our album came out, the first record, I was in the mall in the food court, and about 50, 60 kids coming up, and we were talking and everything, and the mall cop made me leave. Can you believe that?
Yeah. I should be surprised, but I'm not.
I got another thing. I borrowed from a lady that worked in a wig store there that first jacket on the Dream of a Lifetime video. If you ever seen that, nothing but sequins. Yeah, borrowed that from the wig store in that mall in Metrocenter. That's where I got that jacket from.
That's great. I was off work today, man. So I was jamming some old acts and watching some videos and stuff, and the Dream of a Lifetime video came on, and I was watching the fog and the girls and just the whole video, man. It's peak 80s, isn't it?
That sequin jacket I was wearing was right out of the Metrocenter, brother.
That's awesome, man.
And what's Metrocenter now? It's like third world.
It says Jackson's a third world country. It's not just the Metrocenter. You know what's sad about that is that was the largest mall in the South when it was for a while.
When it was in its peak, it was amazing.
It may very well still be the largest mall in the South, just the largest empty mall.
Right. That's a shame, huh?
It really is. It's a shame what's happened to this city, because anybody who ever grew up here and did stuff like what you guys did and, you experienced here knows that what the city used to be, and for it to be in the condition it is now, it's what started this whole Save Jackson thing, which, I mean, obviously I know you can't save this place, but you can save the memories of it.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, when I go and, when I first moved there, the neighborhood that I was living in was great. Just, middle class families and everything. And I loved it. And I always used to say, man, you know what? I want to live in Jackson when I grow up. And so, but I go and back, just drive through that neighborhood, and it's horrible. It's disappointing to see what was once, amazing. There's not, don't get me wrong, there's still some very nice areas in Jackson.
Sure.
But not the way that it used to be.
Where did you live?
Areas have gone downhill.
Where was it at? Where did you live at?
That's not just Jackson, though, man. I mean, you could say that anyway. Go down in New Orleans and look in New Orleans.
No, yeah. Let me say it for the crowd. It's any Democrat city in America. It's they've gone to hell in a handbasket. I can ride through a bad city and tell you exactly what's wrong with it and why the problems exist. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. We had a guy that was in Jackson a few weeks ago, a businessman from Texas, and he rode through and he stayed here a couple nights downtown at the King Edward. And as he was leaving, he was going back to Austin, Texas, and he felt motivated to do a YouTube video about his experience in Jackson. Right. And so it went viral. I mean, same thing I've been saying for 3 years, well, longer than that, but as a platform for 3 years. And this guy goes viral because he's not from here. And I track him down, and we end up interviewing him and stuff. And I told him the same thing. He's like, well, our mayor said, well, if I stuck my head in his house for 45 minutes, I bet you I could find all kind of things wrong with it too. I said, yeah, but I don't have to stick my head in your house to tell you what's wrong with this place. I can just ride through it and be like, yep, I know who's in charge.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, it's so obvious, though. That's what kills me. Is that
it's rinse, repeat.
Problems going on in our country are so obvious, yet why are we still in this situation?
What's that mayor down there in New Orleans? Something to destroy her?
Cantrell or something like that. Yeah,
it's terrible, man. It's like hold my beer. It's between her, our mayor, Chicago's mayor, just fighting for first mayor in America.
Deteriorating, but nobody seems to look at it. And even though they know the reason, they still vote her back in.
Latoya the Destroyer.
Yeah, that's her.
That's it.
It's horrible. So, the way that people, you have to continue to be a voice. And you know what? The smart way to fight against it is with your pocketbook. It's with your actions, with your words, and don't put your money in places like that. That's what, I don't even go down there anymore. I won't even go down and say, I'm not going to go give them my money. I'm not going to go shop there. First of all, I think that it's not safe. You can't even in broad daylight go in certain places that you used to be able to and feel safe. So that's why I like it where I live on the North Shore, because it is, the safest refuge in the state right now. But
look, I had that same conversation on my radio show this morning with the police chief of Pearl, Mississippi,
right.
And Therese Apel, who was a news reporter here, who started her own media company. We sat around for 2 hours talking about that, and they were talking about turning the Metrocenter into a jail, or at least a misdemeanor holding facility. And
all they got to do is put some bars up, and they've got inmates in there.
Look, I mean, I work right across the street from it at a car lot now, and somebody called in. They said, why would you turn it into a jail? Why don't you put retail there? I'm like, because money likes to feel safe. If it was retail friendly, there would be retail in there now.
It used to be retail friendly. Look what happened.
Yeah. It just blows my mind. We everybody knows what the problem is, but nobody wants to address it.
No.
It's like,
because the second you address it, somebody starts labeling you something that you're not.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, fear sets in, and you get dry. It's at the point right now where you can call somebody anything you want. It's losing its luster.
It's lost it.
It really has. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm this, whatever you want.
When some purple-haired urban feminist white urban feminist is constantly calling me a racist.
Yeah,
it's not happening 2 or 3 times a week. I feel like I have to step my game up.
No,
it's at that point.
Racist. It doesn't. They don't even know what the word means anymore. As a matter of fact, it seems to be that the people are using that as an insult are the ones that are perpetrators of it more than anyone. And that's the sad part about it. It's old.
Amen.
It's
Amen.
old. There is no, I mean, I'm honestly, it's just an excuse is all it is. It's something that somebody can use. You can call somebody this, whether there's proof or not. First of all, let me tell you something. You want to know how you fix it? You stop talking about it. You stop calling me a white American. You stop calling people anything but Americans. When you continually call somebody a divisive name, it's going to divide. It's just like advertising. It's not like that. Stop calling each other. I'm German and French, but I'm not a German or French American. I'm an American. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm proud of it. We have our own country here. That's what we are. We need to teach people to be better parents. We need to teach people, if you know what, they should be God-fearing. But if you don't believe in God, it's your priority. You can still be a good parent and not believe in God. But whatever. You start taking God and you start taking goodness and morality out of church and school and home, then the entire civilization crumbles and falls apart.
Well, you're watching it happen.
Yeah, let's start teaching each other to be good to each other, and then all those other things will fall into place.
Have you seen Armageddon, the movie? The asteroid movie with Bruce Willis? There's a scene where they've landed their spaceship on an asteroid. They're trying to destroy it before it destroys Earth. Steve Buscemi, the actor, is sitting on top of a nuclear bomb on the asteroid heading to Earth. And he's like, I got a front row seat to the end of the world. And that's how I feel right now. I feel like I have a front row seat to the end of the world. We know everything we're doing is screwing this up, but we just keep doing it. It's like all gas, no brake.
I will tell you one thing, though. I think it's going to come to a head in a certain way. I think that it's been pushed to the extreme that it's starting to really be proven to everybody how ridiculous that mentality is. And people are starting to get tired of it. Like I said, it's losing its luster. People aren't getting as offended by you call me whatever you want to call me. I know I'm not that. I know the kind of person I am. And people who believe in goodness and believe in the right path are starting to be more vocal. They're starting to stand up more. You know, look, I hate to say this, but there have been times where I've said, you know what? Let's split the country up. You know,
I know. Look,
West Coast,
I said it.
Have the West Coast. You can take, if you don't like, you know, if it's that bad that we can't get along with each other because we have some differences. The problem is that people like yourself and me, I don't have a problem with people's differences. I don't, whether or not, the only thing you need to worry about is if I treat you right. If people want rights for this and rights for that. Everybody should have rights. That doesn't mean that I have to, inside of my heart and soul, agree with what you do. But I will treat you well. I will be kind to you because you're my brother or sister on this planet. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with you. And if I don't agree with you, so what? That's part of life. There are things that we don't agree with each other on. Now,
in 2001, I would have been considered a liberal. You know, other than my stance on abortion, I've always been anti-abortion. You know, and pro Christianity. Other than that, I would have been absolutely considered a liberal. To tell you how much it's pivoted to the extreme directions, now I look like a far right conservative or whatever you want to call it. Well, you know, and I haven't changed.
That beard, man.
I'm an insurrectionist now.
But you're 100% right. You know,
poster child of insurrection.
I'll be honest with you, I'm sick of hearing about right and left and
me too.
Democrat, Republican and left wing and right wing. It's all stupid, to be honest with you, because it really, to me, it should be a question of right and wrong. Okay, look, we all have different opinions. I don't care if somebody, you know, I've never ever had a problem, and I don't understand why we make such a big deal out of it. Everybody should have the same rights, whatever your preferences are. But I don't need to say that I have pride over something. I have pride over being a good person, pride over being a part of the country, pride over being a child of God and being a good person. You can do whatever you want to do, but you don't. There's a lot of things that I don't think they need to be pushed and shoved on me that I have to do this. Well, there are a lot of things that Should I go out and just put it in everybody's face that doesn't like rock music, that if they don't like rock and roll and they're into country western, all of a sudden I got to have a problem with them? I mean, we're all different. As long as everybody is given the same legal rights, we need to work on being good to each other, accepting each other. Look, there's human beings out here. We're going to screw up. We already have. Whatever happened years and years ago, that's on those people that did stuff. We need to be responsible for what we are doing right now. You are responsible for your actions. I'm responsible for mine. That's what we need to be working on, not on finding excuses to get free stuff, finding excuses to get catered to or to get special treatment. You get special treatment by earning it. You get good things when you earn it. I work hard for everything I do for my family, and a lot of people do there. If you want success, go out and work. Good things come to good people with good actions.
Look, man, Steve, I knew you were based, but after this conversation, dude, if you were here, you're here now. It's so damn relieving to hear somebody in the arts and a musician say these things, because I think so many are scared because they haven't quite etched in their place or learned, figured it all out, and they're scared to offend anybody. And for you just to be so honest, and it's sad that just being honest now is somehow a bad thing. It can be perceived as a bad thing. Just speaking the truth, and for you to sit here unabashedly and be as honest as you are, gives me a whole new respect for you. And I knew you were like this, but for you to come out and say it on this platform, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. It's just simple. Just do the right thing. The problem is, you're right. A lot of people, they're fearful, but evil's always been something to be afraid of, but we got more power in good, and it doesn't mean things are going to be easy. There are a lot of obstacles out there. We have a lot to overcome, but the day that if we ever could get someone to pop out and say, a leader of our country that will come out, and just like what happened with the past president, no matter what you do, you're going to get robbed. You're going to be robbed, and you're going to be treated horribly, whatever. But if somebody would just come up, if one of the past few liberal presidents, Democratic presidents, had just come up and said, look, we're going to stop all this hurting each other. We're going to sit down. If I was president, first thing I'd do is I'd have everybody, we're going to get together. You're coming over to the White House. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk it out.
We're going to have a barbecue.
We're going to do something. We're going to make it. We're going to fix things. It's going to be a long road. It's going to be rough. You're going to stop hurting each other. We're not going to be doing that. We're not putting up with that. But we're going to fix these things. And you get together. You don't fix things by violence. You don't fix things by treating each other horribly. You fix things by coming together and being understanding of other people's feelings. And you have to have somebody that at one point is going to sit there and say, you know what? You're not playing right. You're wrong. You're not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. But nobody does that. It's all about the power. It's all about the money. It's all about the prestige and the fame and the ego. And when we get the right person that comes out and does it the right way, we've been close, but somebody that really,
well, I'm going to say it now.
Look at like Donald Trump, the poor guy. His problem was he was rough around the edges, but he needed to be rough around the edges because sometimes you don't get people's attention.
We were coming out of 8 years of an anti-American president. I'll just say that in office. You needed somebody who was not going to bow to any other foreign leaders. Right. You needed somebody who was going to put America first, and it was time. Donald Trump was the backlash of 8 years of anti-American Obama-ism. That's why we had Donald Trump, just like why we have Joe Biden now. And because I'll get canceled and get deplatformed if I get into election talk, I'm going to avoid it. But y'all know what I mean. That's why we have Biden now, because it's the backlash of one extreme. We go from extreme to extreme to extreme. That's why if I had to pull out Clay's little mirror crystal ball here, as much as I would love to see Trump win again, it would be poetic justice. Wah, wah, wah. Right. I think Ron DeSantis is probably the leader in the clubhouse right now. And that's who I think has got the chance to kind of bring the country together a little bit, little big adrenaline energy, trying to keep this family
I'm gonna tell
friendly.
you something, Clay. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Even, through the years in the past, the presidents that I didn't vote for and didn't want, I wanted them to work. I didn't say, Obama, I want you to fail so I can say I told you so. That's the most ignorant mindset there is. But there's so many people like that. They wanted Trump to fail so they could say I told you so. What the heck do you get out of being able to tell your friends I told you so? Nothing.
Yeah. Look, man, I talked about it on my radio show today. I said, man, never in my life have I been exactly what you just said. I said, never in my life have even the worst presidents, I wanted them to succeed because if they win, we win. However, watching what Joe Biden is doing to America right now, if he fails, it means we win.
Yeah.
And I know some people are going to say, Clay, you're crazy. But looking at what he is doing to America, if he is not successful, we win. And
there's only so much hoping and praying you can, I can sit here and hope and pray all day long that our present situation changes, but it's not going to. It's not going to. And if you can't look at the things around you and see where we're going with this, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. There's just a lot of people that no matter what happens, they just want to be able to say, I told you so. And problem is they will even at the risk of hurting themselves, they will stick to, well, no, I'm not even going to look elsewhere. I'm not even going to consider an option or a different situation. I would rather everybody fail and hurt than admit that I possibly could be wrong.
Well, look no further than the blue checkmark brigade on Twitter. And it's coming out about the lab leak theory basically being the lab leak fact. Well, now they're having to eat their words and they're just trying to play it off. I'm like, no. You said that we were all far right-wing conspiracy theorists for suggesting that this could have come from a lab. Meanwhile, we've been saying it since day one that this thing escaped from a lab, a level 9 or whatever top tier virology lab where they had to wear spacesuits up in there, and you're wearing a little piece of panties on your mouth telling me wear the bleeping mask. That goes back to your talking about him being a nice human earlier, and I wanted to get a chance to plug that in. Like that was one of the big turnoffs on the mask for me, other than the common sense side of it, was some TikTok nurse telling me to wear the effing mask.
That's class.
Yeah. Hey, palate cleanser here real quick, man. Because I can tell you, bro, we can go a whole nother hour just bitching about TikTok nurses. Look, my wife's a nurse. She'll come in here and club me upside the head. She knows she hates it when I start talking about TikTok nurses. But I gotta talk about one guy in your band before you let me go. He's had to have been your longest running bandmate of all time. Yeah, my wife is giving me the go to hell look right now with the TikTok nurses. Look, Sam, man. The first time I saw Sam with you was, I think JJ was doing sound. It was a Italian restaurant / sports bar / concert hall down in Baton Rouge. It had to be 99, 2000. Patolo. That's it. Yes. Yeah. That's the first time I saw Sam with y'all.
It was a pizza place.
I got a speeding ticket for going 100 miles an hour over the bridge on my way there.
They turned into a live music place. So there was an outdoor thing with a stage and a kind of a semi amphitheater covering or whatever, like you want to do, like an outdoor thing. And it was great. I remember that show.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw Sam. That may have been the first time I had seen Axe as an adult.
I think that was Ken's first gig with us too, our drummer Ken. Yeah, Sam's been with me longer than any member of the band. That was, what is that, 99 was that?
It had to be. I mean, I think my notes here, I got 23 years or so with you.
Yeah, that's about right.
It would have had to have been around 99.
Because we had just come back from Japan right before that, and that's when John left the band, right? We came back from Japan. And
was Ron singing in the band then? Who was singing in 99?
That was Ron.
Was it Ron? I couldn't even remember.
Yeah, that was kind of...
then I saw y'all back here at the dock after y'all recorded that O2 live album.
Right, yeah. We took a break for a little while, and then back in like 97, 98, we kind of had a resurgence, came back for a little bit. trying to figure out, I wanted to get full steam ahead, but that's when things started to kind of get a little shaky and people wanted to do different things. So, but we
That's
were
life,
still out.
coach.
We went to Japan, went to, did a lot of shows, and that's when we did the live album in 2002.
I loved it, man. Like I said, I was here at the dock for the show that y'all did up here. I even think that there was a record signing at Bebop that day out on County Line, if my memory serves me correct.
I believe so. Yeah.
I have a picture or two floating around here somewhere. I had a picture I was digging for all day that I couldn't find. I sent you that little snapshot that I found that I had saved from the Clarion Ledger back in the day. But I have the flyer that says 1-800-CALL MTV for Show a Little Love.
Oh, right.
And it's all autographed by all the guys and stuff. That's what I was digging up all day to try to find. And I've been able to put my hand on it a million times over the last 30 years. And for some reason, we've moved, and I got all these boxes of my memorabilia and everything that I haven't unpacked. And I was trying to go through it all. And as life goes, I couldn't put my hands on it. Hey, real quick, man, about Sam. Can you get him to send me a case of the Fountain of Youth water or whatever it is he's drinking? Because he looks younger now than I think he did the first time I saw y'all in '99.
Oh yeah, he does, man. I don't even know if he shaves. Honestly, no, he's just he's kind of the unsung hero, He's such a good guitarist, and he's just always prepared. One of the things I really like about lately is he's starting to really get into singing before. We've got, Lillian has tons of harmonies all the time, but we have lots of 3-part harmonies on records that, we kind of in the past, we would just do the 2 parts and maybe a few here. But now he's like really into the singing thing, and he's coming in and it sounds so good, man. But he's never really he's all excited about doing vocals now. So, his guitar playing is always so good, and he's so smooth and just solid, like one of the most solid guys you could ever be in a band with. You don't have to worry about him. He's got it. He's a great guy too.
Did he play in Near Life with you also?
Yes, he did.
So do you remember coming from playing my club in Byram, the Big Red Barn, Crazy 8 with Near Life?
I sure do. Leif Garrett came out that night, right?
That's right. Leif did come out that night. That was, I went and lived with Daryl in LA in my mind, it was a year. It may have only been 3 weeks. I can't remember. I sent him a picture of us at the Rainbow today. I had a bleached blonde hair, a furry yellow shirt. I'm like, man, some things were better left off in a 99 or whatever it was. But I got to meet Leif and hang out at his house there. And when he was in Jackson, it's like somehow I've ended up friends with Leif Garrett. And just couldn't meet a nicer guy though, man. What a cool dude.
Great. Really nice guy, man.
Look, man, that's good stuff, man. I'm telling you, the history, man, we could do this a dozen times. One more thing. Mike Max. Was there a better guy built to be in Lillian Axe? I mean, he just looks like, if I had to draw a Lillian Axe cartoon character, comic book character, not cartoon, guy, right? He would be the guy.
He's everything you think he is. He looks
like a Viking.
We started the band together, and there was some things. Michael was going through some stuff for a little while, and he was out for a while, but he's been back with me for several years now. And I told him, he's in Sledgehammer. He's in my new Iron Maiden tribute band. It's like, I just can't play with any other bass players. So, you're going to have to do everything with me. And he's like, yeah, I'm with you. So, no, he's a beast. He's and consummate professional. I mean, always prepared, always. It's one of the things you take for granted, especially in this band, is the professionalism and the preparedness. And that, it's like they come to rehearsal. I've been in situations with people, and it's like very rarely is anybody fully 100% prepared. See, I'm the over-prepared guy.
I know. Right? I've heard that about you over the years. That that if you're going to play with Stevie, you better like practice.
Well, I think it's not fair to the other guys. Plus, you want to be at your best.
Yes,
but Michael is he's fantastic, and he's so just easy to deal with. No drama. I will tell you about that's a really amazing thing about the band. right now is just no drama. The crew and band all get along really well. It's kind of like we went through all that craziness in the past, and now, you know, it's just kind of everybody is solidified, you know. And to be honest with you, even through in the crazy years, you know, I always had a great group of people, you know, no drug addicts or freaks or weirdos or anything like that. Everybody, you know, boys used to know how to party pretty well back in the day. I ain't gonna lie to you about that. But they all when it
I would be disappointed if a bunch of dudes from New Orleans didn't. And New Orleans and Dallas, you know.
When you're on stage, though, that's where it really counts. So,
yeah. All right. One of the last things here. I know you got to go. You promised me an hour. I've taken you over.
We can talk some more, man. I
would be remiss if I didn't give us an opportunity to give a shout out to Randall.
Absolutely. Randall,
you know, a Jackson legend. You know, my quick story. Of course, I've met Randall a million times. He's been around. I know he was good friends with you. One of the first mega big time current artists that I brought to town was Papa Roach at the peak of their fame. I brought him to the Big Red Barn out in Byram, and basically lied about how big the place was and what it could handle production wise and all this stuff. And they get there, and my life was pure hell that day. And Randall and the dude he always rode motorcycles with, was always hanging with, I can't ever remember his name. They're up there, and Randall's like, man, you know, Clay, he's drinking beer. It's only rock and roll, man. They're going to play the show. They're going to play the show. And it was like the most calming thing. And they did, man. They did. They played the show. It was only rock and roll. And we ended up partying afterwards, and all is well ends well. But I was a ball of nerves that day. And Randall was the voice of reason for me. And I trusted him given his history with bands and everything, you know, that I was like, well, if Randall's saying it, that carries weight with me. True. Yeah. And it was
a great guy. I met him through his brother, Les, years ago in Baton Rouge when we first started out. And he and his brother used to come and hang out with us in Baton Rouge all the time. And then he became part of our crew. And actually, he was my guitar tech for a while. Many bus stories with the old crew. And though at that time, those boys tore it up too. I ain't gonna lie to you. In the early days, you know, they were wild. But Randall was always a consummate professional. Great guy, big heart. Everybody loved Randall. He's just such a good guy. I can remember some funny stories of, we had a crew member named Tombo. Tombo was he looked like Lou Ferrigno, and he was about that size too. And Randall used to always just tease him and stuff in a loving way, but mess with him. And one time he just set Tombo off, and Randall comes running on the bus, and he goes, Blaze, you gotta help me, he's gonna kill me. So he slams the door, gets behind me and here comes Tombo, you know, like 290 pounds, bashing on the bus door, trying to break. I might kill you, Randall, and stuff. So he runs away, and then he moves or whatever. And then Randall jumps out the bus and beelines it for his hotel room, and gets in his room and locks the door. And I see Tombo going after him, and he's banging on Randall's door. He's going to kill Randall. I guess Randall must have just got on his wrong side or whatever. And I jump on Tombo's back, and I'm like, this little guy jumped on top of Tombo, and I'm trying to wrestle him to the door. And finally I calmed Tombo down like taming a wild horse, and they became friends after that. And every time I see Randall the last few years, remember that time you saved my life, Blaze? I think Tombo would have ripped him up, but we had a lot of great memories with Randall. And you know, as everybody knows, he passed away a few weeks ago. And I went up there to Jackson, to Dueling Hall, for his memorial thing the other day, and he's got a great wife and a great son that he left, and we're all going to make sure that they are all well looked after, and just an amazing person. You guys should always keep Randall Carpenter in your memories.
Absolutely. I'm just shooting from the hip here. I don't want to give anybody any false ideas that this is anything planned. I would love to see people come together, maybe do a yearly Randall memorial concert of some sort. get the crew together, maybe merge it into a creek saloon type thing and just get everybody together at least once a year and do something. I would be, I'm throwing it out in the universe, committing to this live. I will provide all the promo for free on my end if anybody wants to make that happen.
To dedicate the new album to Randall too, as well.
Yeah. He's just that good of a guy, man. Really never met anybody that had anything bad to say about Randall. Except maybe your other guy that tried to kill him.
Right, Tombo, for a few minutes.
All right, man. Look, closing. Big festival here. Big rock festival, man. I'm telling you, I give Jackson hell more than anybody. But I'm also the one to say, if somebody's doing something cool, I'm going to be the first one in line to pay to get in or promote it or whatever. July 18th, Howlin' Mouths. You got Lillian Axe, Faster Pussycat, and Enuff's Enough. That's the Quarantine Tour 2021. Also, it's going to be the first time ever that I've broadcasted live from an event.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's
I'm
awesome.
going to come set up and interview people throughout the day and just do like a long form live remote. So the wonders of the internet, man. I'm a rock station without rock music. I'm just trying to provide that.
I was going to ask if you were going to be there because I haven't really gotten a chance to spend any one-on-one time with you in a while, so maybe we get to hang out a little bit when I
absolutely. But I'm gonna come set up a little spot in there, bring my mics and cable, all my gear and set up and just have a cool time because I miss the local rock station stuff where guys would come in like 98 Rock back in the day and Z106 before they became corporatized, and I could hear Lillian Axe and y'all would be in the studio and co-hosting with Dirty D or Chip or somebody, and
yeah, we used to take over that station. I remember many nights they would just give us the keys and we would be sitting in there and people would be coming into the studio and we'd be behind the glass. And I remember one time we told them that we weren't wearing any clothes except for cowboy boots. Of course, we had pants on, but you couldn't see behind the glass. It looked like we were naked DJ. I'm like, what was I thinking back then? And like 30, 40 kids coming up there and hanging. It was a lot of fun, man. We had a good time.
Man, look, it was the first time I ever went there. I'd won a CD. I've told the story recently, but I won a CD off online on air. And I go there, and my mom has to take me. And the CD closet sucked. Let's just be honest. There wasn't very much good free stuff. So I worked my way. Oh yeah, Chip Matthews stole every damn one of them. And so I'm there and the one CD I land on is, and I was never the big death metal guy, but I was like Deicide. I'm like, that looks cool.
Oh my God.
Man, we got in my mama's car and I put the Deicide CD in. It made it about 10 seconds.
Oh my God.
And fast forward a couple years, man, and I'm sitting around. I'm old enough to drink at this point, and I'm hanging out at one of Chip Matthews' bars, and somehow the 98 Rock comes up, and Chip's like, yeah, I worked at 98 Rock, and it hit me. The guy that let me in the CD closet was Chip Matthews.
Chip Matthews, yep.
Yeah, and he remembered that too. Then of course me and Chip have been
I'm surprised
best friends and worst enemies over the years. Do what? I'm
surprised they had Deicide in a 98 Rocks closet in the first place. They would have never played.
No. Look, one of my painters at the dealership the other day walked by me and had on a Deicide shirt, and I was like, no, is that a Deicide shirt? And so I told the story. I was like, man, I had that one album. I even still have it on my digital music, and I never listened to it. But it's just one of those memories. I need it if I ever tell the story. And I'm like, this is what made my mom listen to for about 10 seconds. So, all right, brother. Look, man, I enjoyed this. We need to do this again. Anytime you want to just chop it up, man, I'm game.
Hey, can I give a couple of little shout outs and stuff?
Yeah, dude, I'm in no rush, man. I'm just trying to be respectful of your time.
First of all, on the band side, Lillian's side, we got a lot of shows coming up, especially that one July 18th. But if you go to the Lillian Axe Facebook page, lillianaxe.com, or my Facebook page, I'm always posting on there. You can stay up on everything that's going on. We have a new merchandise company. If you go to manicmerch.com, there's a whole list of new T-shirts, etc., and baseball caps and all that good stuff. manicmerch.com. Also, something we'll talk about another time is I don't know if you knew that I do ghost hunting.
I meant to bring that up because this whole thing started with me doing urban exploration, and I even wrote it down. It's on page 2 here to ask you about ghost hunting.
Well, I tell you what, if you know any locations in Mississippi that are haunted that you can get us into, let me know. I have a team that I developed 7-8 years ago called The Veil, and
I
we do
know.
ghost hunting. We've been shopping our reality show for several years, and long story short, we were on the doorstep of deals 3 times already, and just like record companies, one thing or the other, it fell apart.
I
So,
believe Brad Cooney is in the room here. Him and his
is
team
he?
did, I think so.
Yeah,
Him
they
and
did the
the
house in
house
between.
between. Yeah,
Yeah.
him and John.
Well,
I think Brad's in the room. He's going to be my guest on the show July 1st, and we run
oh,
into each other all the time. I've been trying to
yeah.
link up, and finally got a date. He would be the
Brad's a
guy.
great guy, man, and the
Yeah,
movie's fantastic. But I
love
just
it.
sent Brad like the very first 3 or 4 minutes of our documentary. We shot a documentary on one of our uh, investigations, a big investigation, and we're editing it now, and it came out amazingly well. It's going to be great, and so hopefully it'll be ready by the end of the year, and then we're going to pursue it through all the streaming uh, uh, avenues.
Look,
But yeah, go
I
see
think
the house in between. It's great. Brad's a great guy too, by the way.
him and John Bullard, and those are the two here locally that I know. And
Right.
I did a show with John on here a few months back, and just great guys. You couldn't ask to have a cooler group of dudes, man. I can't, another group I can't say nothing bad about.
We're talking about doing some ghost hunting together for some different things too, like his team and my team together. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm the head of a team. I've got 7 people on the team, including a NASA scientist, a clairvoyant, a guy that's a consultant for the Myrtles plantation, the head of product development for PV Electronics, my brother, and then my stage manager are the techs. So we have a very solid, good 7-person team, and the documentary should be out hopefully at the end of the year. So it's called Through the Veil, and we are excited about it. So I'll keep you posted on all that good stuff, buddy.
Please do. Hey, one last thing here, man.
Yeah.
You were an Ibanez guy for a long time. I still have a pamphlet somewhere, an RG
Yeah.
pamphlet folding, with you in it, or somewhere in my existence it exists. What are you playing now? I see you with a new guitar that I'm not familiar with.
That my main guitar is a company called Strictly 7, and it was a guitar company that did a lot of like prog rock and death metal 7-string guitars. And then they approached me about maybe like being getting into more 6-string stuff and being their endorsed the rock guitar player, to kind of move into a different genre as well. And they built me a bunch of guitars, and the necks are longer than a standard guitar. It's a 26 fret guitar, and so it's got a really long neck. It's a different feel, but the guy that designed them did it to because he was some type of therapist doing therapy for arms and hands and whatnot. So he built a guitar so it would be more user friendly for guitar players and not put so much pressure on your wrists and your hands. So you know the problems that we all deal with after playing so long, arthritis and
Carpal tunnel and stuff like that.
So, but I mean, I'm like in my room right now. I've got like 6 different acoustics. I've got Guilford Guitars, which is a company I've got a bunch of their guitars. I was with them for a while. I've got Les Pauls, Explorers, double neck Strats, Takamine guitars, Taylors, Ibanez. I still have some Ibanez and Jackson guitars too as well. I've got a lot more guitars than I ever did in the past.
I've got an Ovation acoustic over here to my right, but there's something wrong with it. It only plays like 3 chords. I don't know. I mean, it could be user error. I'm not sure.
Oh God, it's always out of tune.
Yeah, my buddy Chad Wesley comes
now.
over and I make him tune it all the time. I'm like, hey,
go.
why don't you play a song? And it's always out of tune, so he ends up having to tune it for me.
Well, I still, the White Charvel in the Dream of a Lifetime video, I had that refurbished a couple of years ago, and I'm still playing that out live too.
That's awesome. I was going to ask if you still jammed any of the old stuff.
Oh yeah,
gear wise.
I sold and gave away a lot of old guitars. I wish I still had, to be honest with you, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's life.
But people have blade. I ran into somebody years ago, man, that had an Ibanez from you or something, and I was like, oh, what I would do to have that. I can't remember who it was or whatever, but it may be Chip Matthews. I can't remember. He has a stack of them.
So check this out. So right when Ibanez got involved with me, they gave me a Sabre, right? Which was this real thin body, almost an SG looking kind of guitar.
Yeah.
They gave me a Sabre, and right when the Simpsons pilot came out, I had the portrait of the Simpsons painted on this guitar. This was before they were anything, right? They were just a pilot. And I saw it and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So the thing got stolen out of our practice room in early 2000s, something like that, right? Early mid 2000s. They had a bunch of stuff stolen. They caught the guys who stole our stuff trying to hawk it at a music store. I had 3 guitars that they had stolen. They tried to hawk them all. I got them all back, but I didn't get the Ibanez with the Simpsons on it, right? So about maybe a year, 2 years ago, I get several different fans emailed me. Hey, man, isn't this your guitar? They had all been to this pawn shop in Metairie, Louisiana.
So close.
Whoever had it was trying to pawn this thing off, and they found it. And I called the police and said, hey, do you still have record of this theft? Because that guitar popped up. And I got that guitar back. The cops and the pawn shop people and myself, we all coordinated. And I got that Ibanez back that had been stolen from me for so many years. And it's in my possession now. Is that crazy or what?
That's awesome. I'm gonna need a picture of that to follow up with this, man, because that's too cool. Because I don't remember seeing that guitar. But
yeah, I'll get some pictures for you.
I definitely want to see that. Well, that's awesome, man. That right there, that's a story that makes for a good little mini documentary, right?
I tell you, man. I'd like to.
The
funny part about it, when they caught the guys, they called me from the store, and they said, Steve, we got they caught the guys that found this, because we had sent out a list of everything that was stolen, and everybody knew the guys that owned the store knew how to get in touch with me, so they did. So I went down there, and I had these 2 guys that one of them had just gotten out of jail for armed robbery, and the other one had a track record a mile long, and they had them handcuffed up against the car and all my gear. And I actually asked the policeman, even though I'm a pacifist, and I asked them if I could have 5 minutes in the back room with each one of them, and they wouldn't let me do it. So I was so ticked off. They stole thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and a lot of it we didn't get back. But I did get the guitar, eventually got the guitars. It's sickening, man. So
nothing worse than that, being violated like that, and just feeling like somebody took something and you can't do nothing about it. It's like,
and then I started looking at these guys. I'm like, wow, I started actually feeling sorry for them and praying for them. Like, God, you got to do something with these guys, man, because they're going to wind up dead somewhere if something doesn't change in their lives, So I don't know whatever happened to them, man. Sad.
Yeah. Well,
it's just stuff, though. It's just stuff.
Hey, it's a blessing you got it back, and opportunity to pray for somebody, and maybe they're doing better in life now, maybe they're not, but
I hope so.
Well, cool, brother. Look, man, I enjoyed this. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight, man. We will see you July 18th at Howlin' Miles with Faster Pussycat and Enough's Enough, and a tattoo truck and food trucks and the Clay Edwards Show broadcasting live. So we're going to have a good time, brother. If I can do anything for you in the meanwhile, you know how to get in touch with me.
And vice versa, man. Thank you so much. Great to see you again. And we'll see you in a few weeks, buddy.
Appreciate you, Steve. Take care.
All right, man. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Peace. All right, man. That was a blast. I appreciate y'all enduring me there. My fanboy comes out every now and then. You get to interview somebody that you grew up idolizing from a musical standpoint. Steve was a great role model, a great guy to look up to, did everything the right way. I could just sing every song in my head. I know every word, every song. And to get to talk to him, and again, we've met several times, we're no stranger to each other, but to get to interview him in this capacity, it was cool. I never thought I'd be doing this. So much love to him. Thank you to Brian Jones for setting that up. And we will see you guys at Howlin' Miles, Jackson, Mississippi, July 18th. Brian, I know, has dropped the ticket link in here, and go buy your tickets. We complain and complain and complain. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. This is going to be something to do. I'm going to go do it. Also, something really cool is Dirty D is going to be hosting that thing, and I'm having a brain fart. And his partner in crime out there at BB's is going to be co-hosting it with him. Cannot believe I can't remember her name off the top of my head here. I've said it a million times. Anyway, super cool deal. They're going to be out there, and I'm going to be out there. We're going to have fun. It's going to be a rock and roll reunion here in Jackson. If y'all are up in the morning, 7 a.m., check out the Clay Edwards Show on 103.9 WYAB. You can always stream it at WYAB.com. Melissa Kirksey. Thank you, Crystal. Daryl and Melissa Kirksey are going to be hosting the show. Sorry, Melissa. I can't believe I had the brain fart there. After an hour and a half of reminiscing of Blaze, I'm over here. I don't have it all together. I'm kidding. Look, July 18th, we'll see you tomorrow morning and every morning, Monday through Friday. Check out the Clay Edwards Show on 103.9 WYAB. Y'all be sure to support all the sponsors you've seen behind me here. You got JonesyQ. Go to JonesyQ.com, spend more than $20, and use the discount code SAVEJXN. And I am paying for your shipping on all your barbecue rubs and sauces. You can see them here in front of me. They have plenty more options available. That's JonesyQ.com. Use the checkout code SAVEJXN if you spend more than $20. Dumpsters in Mississippi. My good friend Kevin Roberts and his son. If you need rollback dumpster service, hit up Dumpsters in Mississippi at 601-966-8599. Coleman Taylor Transmission. Look, the name says it all, man. They're historic transmission repair shop in Jackson. There's really not even another option available as far as I'm concerned. Hit up Coleman Taylor right there on Highway 80 in Jackson at 601-355-8526. USA Pawn. They have their 10-10-10 layaway special, 10% down, 10% per month, 10 months to pay. Check out usapawn.com and go by the McDowell Road location. It's the largest pawn shop in the state of Mississippi. Watkins Construction and Roofing, the premier roofing company in the state of Mississippi. Check them out online at watkinsconstructioninc.com and schedule a free roof assessment if you're having any kind of roof leakage issues. A lot of companies are going to try to sell you a roof. Watkins is going to try to fix your roof first and sell your roof as a last case scenario. Not all roofs need to be replaced. Some just need repair. Lakeland Glass and Tint, man, where quality matters. Check out Jason Anderson and the team right there on Lakeland Drive, 601-946-1000 or lakelandglassandtint.com. A little old picture of Lillian Axe there. All right, father and son, Southern Lawn Care Professionals. My buddy Danny White, he's been in here all night. You can reach Danny at 601-301-3210 for all your lawn care needs here in Central Mississippi. Great locally owned and operated business there. All of these are great locally owned and operated businesses. My old Lillian Axe vinyl record there, autographed by Steve. Black Axe's Throwing Club, 2 locations, Fannin Mart and the Outlets in Mississippi. You can schedule an axe throwing lane today at blackaxesms.com. Again, there's JonesyQ. Generator Power Solutions. Man, look, with the weather in Mississippi like it is, with the attacks on our infrastructure, you can never be too safe. You can never have too much backup power. Check out Generator Power Solutions, LLC.com. Another great locally owned and operated business right here in Brandon, Mississippi. They offer Generac backup generators. All right. Look, I believe that I have ran through all the sponsors there. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. AM Renovations in Handyman Services. Check out Alan and his team at 601-214-5112. They hung this TV behind me here for me. That's on a big swivel mount and everything, 75-inch TV. Came right in here, had it done within the hour. Hung a couple other things for us too. So check out my brother there. And Casey Bridges at Hopper Properties. Casey, within 3 short years, is already in Hopper's $15 million a year club. So check out Casey and give him a call at 601-724-1435 or check out hopperms.com. Hey, look, if you need to short sell your house, like he's like, hey, man, I say short sell. If you need to sell your house quick, need somebody to pay cash for it, you don't have time to go through the whole process, he will also buy your home. So if you're looking to buy, sell, commercial, residential, anything, give Casey a call today. JonesyQ, dumpsters, Coleman, Taylor, USA, Watkins. All right, we ran through everybody. I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, and I will see y'all July 18th at Halloween. And again, tune in tomorrow, the Clay Edwards Show, 7 a.m., 1039 WYAB. If you missed any of this, it'll be available for replay, and it will also be available as a podcast. Just go search Save JXN wherever you listen to podcasts or stream music. Y'all have a blessed night. Thank y'all.